Welcome back to another GR8 podcast, and we just watched the Oscars, the 2023 Oscars for the 2022 movies, and honestly, let's just get right into it. I'm going to give you my little quick Oscar reactions, thoughts, notes, what all happened, how well I did. For those of you that actually listen to my Oscar predictions podcast, I went 47%. I got 8 out of the 17 categories I guessed on correct. 8 out of 17. I wish I could break double digits, but I guess we'll try again next year. But 47%, that's not too bad. Or almost 50%. Almost went 50%. Could have split the vote. It's all good. Let's go over it. Actress in a supporting role. I got that right. Angela Bassett. Oh wait, no. I didn't. Yeah, did I get that right? Psych, I'm actually kidding. That is too funny. Okay, so actually let's get into it. Actress in a supporting role, Jamie Lee Curtis won. I actually had Angela Bassett. Actor in a supporting role, I had Ke Huy Quan, and that was right. Costuming, I had Wakanda Forever. Got that one right. Sound, said Top Gun Maverick. That one was right. Score, I had The Fabelmans, but All Quiet on the Western Front went to that one, which I'm actually kind of surprised by, but they were playing the score during the acceptance speeches for the other Oscars that movie won, and I actually kind of like that score, so I'm glad that that one won. Adapted screenplay, I said All Quiet on the Western Front, and Women Talking won. Original screenplay, I said The Fabelmans, and Everything Everywhere All at Once won. Original song, I got that one right. Not to from RRR. Best International Feature Film, I said will win, is All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany, and that was correct. Animated Feature Film, I said Marcel with the Shell with Shoes On, and Pinocchio won, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and I'm pretty glad about that one, honestly. While watching it, I was like, okay, it's got to be Puss in Boots, right? Because watching these, you just change your mind, and I was even wrong with Puss in Boots. So film editing, I said Tar, and Everything Everywhere All at Once won. That was kind of a toss-up. I really wasn't sure, but I'm glad that that Everything Everywhere All at Once won. That's going to be hard to say throughout this whole thing. Cinematography, I said Bardo won, and actually looking back at that, I really don't know why I said that. I think I was just going for the outlier because I was sure that that's what they would do with this category. But I was wrong. All Quiet on the Western Front won, which I'm actually kind of surprised by. That even like Elvis didn't win, Top Gun Maverick didn't win. Just a a war movie won. Of course it did for cinematography. If you only just have good looking shots in a war movie, you already won cinematography. Visual effects, obviously Avatar won, and I said that one. Actor in a leading role, I said Colin Farrell will win, but I kind of wanted Brendan Fraser, and ended up Brendan Fraser winning. Actress in a leading role, I was split with these Michelles, but I said Michelle Williams, and the one that I wanted, Michelle Yeoh, won, so I'm glad about that. Directing, I was pretty certain that Steven Spielberg would win. It's kind of funny that his quote-unquote love letter to Hollywood, and they did not love him back. Turns out that Everything Everywhere All at Once won. Good for them. I'm glad that they won. And then Best Picture, I obviously wanted Top Gun Maverick or Avatar The Way of Water, knowing that those two were never going to win. And Everything Everywhere All at Once did win. And I'm glad I got that one right. Pretty good Oscars, honestly. I kind of want to break down the notes that I had. I was kind of taking notes throughout the whole show. Overall, I kind of liked it. I like this Oscars. I'm glad that nothing actually crazy happened like last year. I'm glad that the big news wasn't like somebody falling. I'm glad that the big news wasn't somebody hitting another person. I'm glad that there's no confrontations. Jimmy Kimmel, I think, did a good job hosting. I don't really like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't think he's that funny, but I think he did a good job hosting and keeping the crowd into it, and I was kind of into it. He was making jokes. He was very kinetic on stage. I think his stage presence was cool. It was good. He allowed people to talk, and he put himself in front of the camera and talked very well as well. I think Jimmy Kimmel did a good job. I think it was a well produced Oscars. The camera movements, the camera angles, the production design, I think was all good. Very simple. I really liked the lights on the back of the seats. I thought that was very cool. When Avatar: The Way of Water was up on screen, all the lights on the seats turned blue, and it just went really well with the screens around the theater. So I like that. I don't like, however, I mean, I understand it's the Oscars. They're going to have a lot of gold around. They're going to have a lot of gold decorations and whatnot. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think it doesn't look very well on screen when there's most of the colors that people are wearing are either black or a dark blue or something like that, and it's obviously for contrasting reasons that they have them doing that, and a brighter background that is gold. But I just don't think, I don't know, I feel like a more colorful and shaded sort of, maybe a blue, maybe a green, maybe a red, I think that would look good. But I understand it's the Oscars. Even like the trophy is gold. I get that. I just think something like that could be cool. My notes throughout the Oscars, I took notes. Let's just go down the line. How much money did Disney pay the Academy to actually show the trailer for The Little Mermaid during the show? That's insane to me. I know that they own ABC and all that, but holy cow. Like, what? They had a legitimate whole section just for The Little Mermaid, just for Disney to just show the trailer for the movie. And the movie looks bad. And honestly, with the new trailer that they showed during the show, it looked like they actually had color in this film. It looked like it kind of had some personality. I'm still not going to go see it, but I'm glad that it's actually looking like a pretty well thought out movie, I guess, with the fish and the colors and whatnot. Whatever. Once I saw that Sebastian was a real crab, it's just cancel the movie. I'm so sick and tired of this. Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors doing the little cinematography lesson, like the little history lesson before the cinematography, I guess, winner announcement or whatever. I think that was actually pretty cool. That was good. I like that. They came up, and we all know that they're in Creed, but they, a big presence in Hollywood, and they said, and also Creed 3, the movie that just came out, it was cool synergy between that Ant-Man also came out with Jonathan Majors, and Creed with Michael B. Jordan, and then they're both in Creed, and Creed 3 is also Creed 3 is also Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, and then the fact that or just Michael B. Jordan honestly just said that, like, this is how camera movements, this is how it happened, this is how, this is like the history lesson. If they wanted a lower angle shot, then they would actually cut a hole in the floor and then just angle the camera up, and I like that whole idea. I like that they're being practical with the history lesson. I think that's pretty cool. I bet people watching at home that's never been through film class or whatever actually learn something about filmmaking, and I think that the Oscars and the Academy should do that a little bit more. I think that something like that was really cool, and the fact that it's Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, it was cool for him to be like, so this is what we did in Creed. Granted, they didn't show anything about Creed 3 for that because it's, to this year's movie, not last year's, but it was just something cool. I'm glad that they did that. I wish they did more about that. I wish they did more scenes for, this is how the editing booth looks like, this is what the makeup trailer looks like, and stuff like that. They did do that, but they didn't have any much practical effects. The other thing I wrote down as some notes is they actually showed and displayed the costumes for the movies that were in the costuming nominations. That was very, very cool. It was blown. I want to say blown away, but I was very, very impressed with the Oscars and the Academy trying here. I think that they actually tried here to make it serious, make it fun, make it interactive, allow somebody to learn something. They knew that coming off of last year's Oscars, and this year was actually 2022 was like the big year for movies coming back since COVID. So I'm glad that they actually tried. They actually tried to tell a story. They actually tried to do something with the people and the elements that they had available. So with the camera, and they're actually showing the costumes. I thought that was really cool. What else? Just like the musical performances, I wasn't really blown away by Lady Gaga, Rihanna, This Is Our Life, or whatever. This is the performances were okay, but This Is Our Life, the song from Everything Everywhere All at Once, that performance was garbage. That was so bad. As soon as like the male performer started singing, I was like, oh man, turn this guy off. Yeah, the music performances I don't think were very cool. I'm glad, might be a really small note, but beforehand, before Rihanna started singing Lift Me Up, the song from Black Panther, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, he's hosting it, right? He said something about the Super Bowl. It's like, you just saw her at the Super Bowl and now you see her at the Oscars. I like that integration of just other things going on in our lives with the Oscars, because I feel like the Oscars is a big, suit and tie. You have to act all clean. Nothing can happen. Nothing too crazy. This is all where the Hollywood elites come to and give everybody a pat on the back. But this Oscars actually seemed like more well-rounded, where like, hey, you watched the Super Bowl the other day, and now you're seeing the same person that performed there performing here. That's more of a thing like on Rihanna and how like legendary she is in her performances. But I do like that sort of idea where you're connecting everyday life. Even the viewer, Jimmy Kimmel talks straight to the camera. It's like, you at home, I'm glad you're here. And I don't know. That seems like really small, probably not something much noteworthy, but I did want to point it out. I thought that was cool. Of course, this thing was sponsored by Pfizer. Of course it was. There's so many COVID-19 commercials during this thing. Like, holy cow. Like, we get it. Like, we get it. We understand. we get it. Of course this thing was sponsored by Pfizer. That was so funny. And then speaking on the commercials, they had 3 noteworthy commercials that were actually integrated part of the show. The first one was, obviously I talked about it earlier, was the Little Mermaid trailer from Disney. The second was the Warner Brothers commercial about their studio and their filmmaking journey. Apparently it's the 100th university. Apparently it's the 100-year anniversary for Warner Brothers as a company. Same thing as Disney, which I think is kind of funny. But their commercial was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed that. I think that was way more magical than Disney's, honestly, because Disney's was all about the different animated movies that they've made. Obviously, like, we get it. Disney is a huge animated franchise and is a huge animated company. But Warner Brothers showed that, like, yeah, we had DC, but we also have other Oscar winning movies. Like, we have all these types of, we have action movies, we have sad movies, we have comedies, we have sci-fi movies that all part of our franchise, all part of our company. We have Alfred Hitchcock movies, and we also have Mission Impossible movies. We also have Batman. We also have Superman. I just thought that was just very cool. We have very high, well doing movies at the box office, and we also have movies that didn't do so well but still very well known. And I think that's just, I like Warner Brothers. I thought their commercial was very, very endearing. And the other commercial I also want to talk about and point out is the Academy. The Academy apparently has their own museum in Los Angeles. It's got to be in California. I wasn't watching too closely to that, but I did see that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I think I was getting water during that commercial, but I thought it was like, was that just an Academy Museum commercial? That's pretty cool. They're saying, hey, in person, I know that you usually watch movies on the screen or on your phone or whatever in the theaters, but in person, you can actually come and see the props and the set design and the things that we got going on that actually happen in those movies that you watch. So come see the Godfather set. Come see the costumes from Star Wars. Come see it. I think that's really cool that they're promoting something like that. It's integration with, we know that the average viewer watching this is sitting at home watching us pat ourselves on the back. But hey, why don't you get out of your house and come see us and see what other things that we're doing and other things that's going on in the world. I think something like that was very, very cool. The little donkey is cool from Banshees of Inisherin. They actually had the real donkey. Well, honestly, I heard it's not even actually the real donkey, but nonetheless, they actually had a donkey there and said, hey, this is about Banshees of Inisherin. Usually, I mean, even throughout the show, they just had the best pictures, best picture. This is the best picture. They showed a little trailer and, highlight little clips of the movie, and then that happened throughout the night, and I thought that was pretty cool. But again, it's a little integration, real life, of like the camera with Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors. They actually had a little donkey, and Jimmy Kimmel was just holding the donkey and says, "This is the donkey. We shipped it from Ireland." I thought that was like just like little goofy little fun stuff. And speaking of little goofy little fun stuff, they promoted Cocaine Bear. The Oscars are just so unserious about so many things, and I actually like that. So many times as we watch these award shows, and it's just like, oh my goodness, it's just more Hollywood elites bragging about how many kids they touched. But actually, like, Cocaine Bear is a goofy little movie, hour and a half movie about a bear on cocaine killing people back in the 80s. Nothing super serious. Actually, like, a lot of the actors in that movie are just comedians. Not just comedians, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, they promoted a movie literally called Cocaine Bear before they presented the nominees for Best Directing. I think that is just so funny. And literally, the Cocaine Bear probably had more screen time than Austin Butler. I just think that's so goofy. I think that's so funny, and I'm glad that they did that. Again, it's just personal integration. Hey, you've seen this, you've seen the commercials, you can go out and see the movie. Why not? And the final thing is, I will say that actually two things, and they're kind of about like people up on stage. I didn't really see a whole lot of people trying to promote their viewpoint on anything. I kind of like that. A lot of people are just thanking their moms and dads and agents and talking to everybody. I think it was also because last year, or a couple years ago, I guess, Ricky Gervais was like, just take your award, thank your agent, thank your God, and get out of here. And this time, Jimmy Kimmel didn't say all that, but he was more of a joking. He's like, yeah, we got to get this thing along, say what you want, but come on, let's get out of here. And I'm glad that people kind of understood that at most places, but other places, they would just cut people off. That's my other point. They would just cut people off. There would be one person talking, and it's like part of a group, and the second person would come up, and they just start the music. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we got to go. And the hosts, or at least the people that are presenting these awards, would just come up to them and put their hand on the back. It's like, okay, let's go. And the person like sitting at the mic was like, I wanted to say something. I personally think it's kind of like baseball. It's kind of like baseball with the MLB putting this 20-second timer for pitching. I think it's the same kind of thing with baseball. Like last year, they cut out a lot of the awards up at the show, and then this year, Jimmy Kimmel again made a comment about it, saying, hey, we got all the awards today. So if you complain about it being long, don't look at us. Like, we try to help you. And I think that it has some sort of like idea that, like, I mean, we're trying to keep this thing short, and I know this thing is short. It started at 11, it started at 8 and ended at 11:30, which is about 3.5 hours or so. That's, for an award show, for the award show of the biggest medium of all time, the biggest storytelling medium of all time. I think that's pretty okay with a pretty good year of movies. I don't know. It's kind of like you just try to cut down time for people to watch it more. It's like, well, no, just make it enjoyable for the people that are going to watch. Kind of like baseball. Who cares if you have a 20-second pitching timer? Like, just make the game enjoyable. And if that doesn't make the game enjoyable, take it out. Or just like the Oscars, if you take out categories that you quote unquote don't think it means as much, which I think is garbage. I think all of the categories mean just as much as the other one. And they added it back in, and the award show was still pretty long. Like, it doesn't matter at that point, it doesn't matter about that point. But to cut people off from trying to say something about their movie, about their craft, about their talents, about their creativity, about a project that they've worked on for years and they just cut somebody off. I don't know. I kind of want to hear them. Let's hear them. Let's hear what they have to say. Come back to the mic. Let's hear it. Let's hear what you have to say. We're already 2 hours into this thing. We've got a whole another hour left. What's going to hurt for another 30 seconds of somebody just thanking their agent and thanking their parents for supporting them? Like, why does it matter? Why does it matter? They cut off almost everybody. And the Daniels, it was really funny because they kept on going up on stage because they kept on winning. And one guy would say something, you'd be like, okay, I'm done. Here, go. And he was like, oh, thank you. Okay, we're done. So it was like, you're rushing these people. Like, this is the time to celebrate these movies, not just pass it along and try to get to the next one. Like, everybody in Hollywood knows these things take super long. Like, it doesn't matter, In reality, it doesn't matter. But whatever, that was my little quick Oscar thoughts. I'm sure I'll have more and be like, man, I really wish I added that part in. But I'm glad that I was able to hop on right before I go to bed, talk about the Oscars. I love the Oscars, and I actually really like this one. I think it was good. It was nice. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I think it was good. I'm glad it happened. I had a good time watching it. I was never really bored. I'm glad about the Oscars. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm glad I watched the Oscars. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening. I appreciate you on Spotify or on Anchor, wherever you get your Spotify, whatever you get your Anchor, wherever you get your podcast. It don't matter to me. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.